As you start to see the housing market cool down from the peak frenzy of the last year or two, you might think it's a great time to submit a lowball offer on that house you want to buy. While this would seem to make a lot of sense, after all, who doesn't want to get a deal on their big purchase? But there are some downsides to consider and some better strategies, frankly, that can actually save you more money. First, remember, your closed sale now becomes the next comparable sale used on someone else's appraisal in the neighborhood. So if homes have been going for, say, $500,000 in your neighborhood and you purchase for only $475,000, the $475,000 price now becomes the most recent comp that appraisers will use, causing prices for all homes to go down in the neighborhood. Not really what you want either for your own home's appreciation when you go to sell the house. Secondly, if the house was actually priced right to begin with, you have to remember we are still in an appreciating market. We're not seeing depreciation, just a slowdown in the appreciation rates. Home prices are not falling, just rising slower than they have. So the seller likely won't have any interest in your lowball offer anyway. But what about the payment impact by making a lowball offer? Cutting the price by, say, $25,000 only has about $150 a month impact on a 30-year mortgage. And while that sounds great, let's look at how getting a seller concession might be a much smarter move. Asking the seller for just a 2% price concession, meaning you would get $10,000 that can go towards your closing costs on the same $500,000 home, gives the seller a much closer net proceeds to what they were looking for at the original price, and gives you a huge benefit of lower monthly payments. How? Well, you can take that 2% credit and use it to purchase discount points. This would take, say, an average 6% 30-year fixed rate today down to the mid-5s, saving you the same $150 a month for the life of the loan. So it's a win-win. You get the house, the seller is happy, and you have the same payment as the lowball price. Another way to use that seller credit is to pay for all of your closing costs, reducing your out-of-pocket expense at closing. This is another way where you can free up funds to use for another purpose. Maybe you want to do some improvements or renovations to the house, moving expenses, furniture, etc. Now you have that money back in the bank. Another thing you can do with that seller concession is a temporary 2-1 buy down. This costs the seller even a little less than a 2% concession, but would take your base 6% rate down to only 4% the first year, then 5% the second year. After that, you'd have the full 6% rate for the remaining 28 years. This would actually save you a lot more money up front in the initial years of owning the home than if you do the permanent buy down like I mentioned previously. So there's lots of different ways to structure it, but the goal is you want to get the house, you want the seller to want to sell it to you, and you both have to negotiate somewhere in the middle. So we're starting to see more sellers offer concessions towards closing costs. I believe the number I just read recently was somewhere around 30% of all transactions now have seller concessions. Over the last year or two, it was probably down to zero or very, very low number. So it is starting to come back as the market cools down. So use this to your advantage. It's not always as good as just lowering the price as it is to lower the rate. You'll get a little bit more bang for your buck. So I'd be happy to run through some numbers on your particular unique scenario. Just give me a call, shoot me an email or a text. I'm here to help. Have a great day.